Lower Premiums for All Americans Act does exactly what the title suggests. It will reduce premiums for all Americans by, on average, at least 11% overall. And that's just the beginning. And what the bill did in addition to that tonight is it increases the quality of care, the access to care. It gives persons more options, more flexibility in their health care. The Democrats do not want a solution, they just demonstrated, because they voted against this bill. They want an issue for the election. It is based on a false narrative. The Democrats broke America's health care system. When they gave us the ACA, the Unaffordable Care Act, 15 years ago, they promised that premiums would come down, that access would increase, and quality of health care would increase. None of that happened because it's a flawed system.
And that's the Speaker of the House yesterday. The House passed the GOP-backed health care bill yesterday. It does not include an extension of the expiring Obamacare tax credits, the measure passing 216 to 211. Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, the only Republican who joined all Democrats in opposing that bill. The Lower Health Care Premiums for All Americans Act aims to expand association health plans, lower premiums for some Obamacare enrollees, and enact reforms aimed at reducing drug expenses. 4 Republicans, meanwhile, signed a Democrat discharge petition which forces a vote on extending the subsidies for 3 years. That vote coming early in the new year. Joining me now to get ahead of it is Louisiana Congressman and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me as always, Maria. It's great to be with you this morning.
Well, Leader, do you worry that since you're not seeing any extension of these Obamacare subsidies, that your colleagues on the left are going to shut the government down again when funding runs out the end of January?
Look, I think Democrats today wake up with the socialist left taking over their party, the Madami wing of the party, and they want to shut the government down every day. They want to fight Donald Trump every day and try to block anything we're doing to move this country forward. And I think the American people are sick of it. Look, most Americans just want to go about their daily lives. They want gas prices to go down, as President Trump talked about last night. They want their wages to go up, Maria, as President Trump also talked about last night. And Democrats here in Washington have been voting against every one of those policies to do those things. We passed bills to lower gas prices. Every Democrat voted no. We passed bills to prevent the largest tax increase on American families, including low-income families. Every Democrat voted no. They've proven they want to shut the government down, and they want to raise taxes and costs on hardworking families, including low-income families. So we're going to keep doing our work for the American people. Sometimes we'll get bipartisan votes. Even if we don't, we're going to keep passing these bills, Maria, because we need to keep working with President Trump to deliver on the promises we made and turn this great country around.
Well, I mean, look, the Democrats keep talking about affordability, and yet they ignore the fact that they had the ball and they blew it because they came out with Obamacare, and it actually turned out to be much more expensive than anybody expected. I tried to talk to Khanna, your colleague from California, about this just the other day, and here's what he said. Watch this.
Private health insurance is what's bankrupting America. It was happening before the Affordable Care Act. The solution, as everyone knows, in my view, who studied this, is Medicare for all.
Do you believe that if you don't get any solution on these extensions of Obamacare, do you believe that the Democrats should shut down government again at the end of January?
I've never been for a shutdown in terms of just getting our way. I am trying to negotiate. One of the issues that we've tried with Michael Lawler, with Kevin Colley, to Republicans, is to say, let's just do the extensions for a year or 2 years.
Yeah, but wait, let's be clear. You voted to keep the government shut down.
Because they did not come even with a compromise. We can get a compromise, even though I'm for national health insurance and Medicare for all, even though I would want to have the Affordable Care Act subsidies be permanent. If we come up with a compromise that at least keeps people with health insurance this coming year in 2026, I'm open to voting for it.
Would you support a government shutdown if that doesn't happen?
I believe it will happen.
So what do you think? Will it happen?
Wow, you've just seen the radical left. And look, Khanna said it proudly. He voted to shut the government down. He wants all Americans on government-run health care. By the way, it's failed in every country it's been tried. Maria, does everybody in America want to be on Medicaid? That's what Democrats are doing. Look at the Affordable Care Act. They've shoveled hundreds of billions of dollars to insurance companies, and yet the price is still unaffordable. They called it the Affordable Care Act, That was a lie. They said if you like your doctor, you can keep it. That was a lie. They promised insurance prices would go down $2,500 a family. That was a lie. Everything they said about health care was a lie. Are they really going to be the ones to fix it? We want to lower health care costs for 100% of Americans. That's what we brought yesterday. Democrats have voted time and time again to raise health care costs on 95% of Americans. And they voted against the bill yesterday that would lower costs. Everybody in America can see who wants to lower your health care premiums. It's Republicans. And who's voted to raise those premiums and bail out insurance companies who are getting record profits. It's bizarre. And then they want to shut the government down, too, to cause disruptions. You won't be able to go home for Christmas because your airport will be shut down if Khanna and other Democrats had their way. Thank goodness we're in the majority, but they're trying to get it next year. And if they get their way, we'll have shutdowns every day. You'll have closed airports. You'll have lines down the street. You'll have government-run grocery stores in New York because that's what Mandami wants. But you're going to have Mandami-run policies in every city in America if Democrats get the House. We can't let that happen.
So what do you make of these polls that people are nervous about the economy, nervous about the cost of living? Do you need to change your messaging going into the 2026 elections?
Well, I think we need to keep pushing policies that are going to lower costs. But as you see, Democrats are voting to raise costs, to make things unaffordable. And people went through the 40-year high on inflation under the Biden years. So Biden jacked up inflation. Costs are high. We're bringing them down, but they're not down enough. We want to keep doing that. President Trump talked about it last night. We've made progress. It's not as much as we want to make. I'd like it if Democrats would vote with us every blue moon to lower costs. But we're going to keep doing it. We need to keep lowering costs, making things more affordable, getting the economy moving, and increasing wages for families. And we're going to be doing that early in the new year. We're going to have an agenda we roll out in January. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, but we're going to be getting back to work early in January to keep fighting for the American people, even if Democrats only care about trying to fight for political power for themselves to raise costs on families. It's going to be a real contrast. And I think we're going to win big next year because people know who's fighting for them and people know who's trying to get more power for themselves. It's disgusting.